Welcome to feudal Japan, a land of honor, cherry blossoms, and apparently magical guys in black pajamas running around with their arms behind their backs. If your knowledge of history comes from watching hundreds of hours of Naruto in your mom's basement, I have some bad news for you. You are wrong. About everything: the ninja, the shadow warrior, the shinobi, the coolest assassin in history. We all know the look: a full black bodysuit, a straight sword strapped to the back, and the ability to throw a metal star through a guy's skull from 50 yards away. Well, I hate to be the one to ruin your childhood. Actually, who am I kidding? I love ruining your childhood. That is literally why I am here. Because the reality of the ninja isn't about magic spells and cool outfits. It's about farming tools, pyromania, and hiding in toilets. Let's separate the fact from the fiction. Welcome to the truth about ninjas. Let's start with the biggest lie of all: the drip, the outfit, the shozoku. If you are a spy and your job is to blend into a crowd, wearing a costume that screams, "Hello, I am a secret assassin," is generally considered a terrible business model. If you walked around 16th century Japan wearing a black onesie and a mask, you wouldn't be mysterious. You would be dead. A samurai would chop your head off before you could say "databayo." So, where did the black pajama myth come from? It actually comes from Japanese theater, specifically bunraku and kabuki. In these plays, the stagehands who moved the props around wore all black to signify that they were invisible to the audience. The audience politely pretended not to see them. Eventually, plays started having these invisible stagehands suddenly pull out a dagger and kill one of the actors. It was a plot twist. The audience was shocked. Gasp! The invisible prop guy was a ninja, and just like that, the image stuck. But in reality, a real ninja dressed like everyone else. If they were infiltrating a temple, they dressed like a Buddhist monk. If they were in a town, they dressed like a merchant. And most of the time, they dressed like farmers. Because no one pays attention to the guy shoveling manure. If you want to be a ninja for Halloween, put down the black mask and pick up a hoe. You look ridiculous. Now let's talk about your weapons. You probably think the ninja carried the ninjato cool, straight, short blade designed for speed. Nope, fake. The straight ninja sword was invented by Hollywood in the 20th century. A ninja in the Sengoku period would have used the exact same sword as the samurai curved katana. Why? Because if you're trying to look like a normal person, walking around with a weird, custom-made square sword is a dead giveaway. Hey, look at Greg. Why is his sword straight? Let's kill him. And what about the Shuriken? The throwing star? The most iconic weapon of all time. Yeah, those are garbage. Video games would have you believe that you can throw a piece of metal the size of a drink coaster and instantly kill a guard. In reality, samurai wore armor made of iron and lacquered leather. If you throw a shuriken at a samurai, it's going to bounce off with a sad little tink noise, and then the samurai is going to be very angry with you. Shuriken weren't for killing. They were for distraction. You throw them at a guy's face so he blinks, giving you 2 seconds to run away and hide in a ditch. However, ninjas did use something much crueler: the makibishi. These were sharp iron spikes, or sometimes just dried hardened seed pods, that they would scatter on the ground behind them while running away. It's essentially the ancient equivalent of stepping on a Lego in the dark. The enemy steps on it, screams in pain, hops around on one foot, and the ninja escapes. Lethal? No. Annoying? Absolutely. But Alex, I hear you whine in the comments. What about the magic? What about the hand signs? Okay, you nerd, let's talk about the Kuji-in. These were real hand gestures used by ninjas, adapted from esoteric Buddhism. But they didn't let you breathe fire or clone yourself. They were meditation techniques used to calm the mind and control fear before a mission. It was essentially an ancient stress ball. You do the hand sign, you take a deep breath, and you try not to pee your pants because you're about to sneak into a castle filled with 500 guys who want to kill you. But just because they didn't have magic doesn't mean they didn't have tricks. Ninjas were masters of chemistry, specifically gunpowder. Japan had access to gunpowder from China, and ninjas were the ones crazy enough to use it creatively. They didn't have smoke bombs from a cartoon, they had eggshells. A ninja would carefully poke a hole in an egg, drain the yolk, probably make a nice omelet, waste not want not, and then fill the empty shell with blinding powder made of pepper, ashes, and iron filings. When a fight started, they would crush the egg in their hand and throw the dust in your eyes. While you were clawing at your burning eyeballs, they would stab you. It's not honorable. It's not Bushido, but it works. They also used landmines, and by landmines I mean they would bury a bamboo box filled with gunpowder and a fuse. It wasn't high-tech, but if you stepped on it, you were definitely having a bad day. So we've established they look like farmers and throw dust in your eyes. But surely their lifestyle was cool, right? Wrong again. Being a ninja was disgusting. A major part of the job was information gathering, spying, and the best place to listen to private conversations was the toilet. I am not joking. Japanese castles had latrines that dropped ... waste directly into the ground or a pit. A dedicated ninja would literally crawl into the sewage pit beneath the toilet and wait, sometimes for days, just crouching in other people's poop, waiting for a warlord to come in, pull his pants down, and discuss battle plans. If they were caught, they often had to hide in the castle moats. These moats weren't filled with crystal clear Evian water. They were stagnant, filled with trashed dead bodies, and yes, more sewage. Ninjas would use a hollowed-out bamboo reed or a scabbard to breathe underwater, submerging themselves in the filth for hours until the guards left. So the next time you picture a cool, sexy ninja, just remember, he probably smells like a porta-potty at a music festival. And what about the ladies? The Kunoichi. Pop culture usually depicts the female ninja as a woman in a skin-tight mesh outfit with a plunging neckline. In reality, female ninjas were the most dangerous spies of all because they were invisible in a different way. They posed as maids, dancers, or concubines. They would spend months working in an enemy castle, gaining the trust of the target. They didn't need swords. They used hairpins sharpened to a needle point, or poison hidden in their long sleeves. There is a legend of a Kunoichi who killed a warlord by waiting until his guard was down during a romantic encounter, and then pouring liquid mercury into his ear. That is a level of creativity that I find both impressive and deeply disturbing. So if ninjas were so effective, what happened to them? Why aren't there ninjas today? Well, first of all, maybe there are, and they are just really good at hiding. Is your mailman a ninja? Probably not, he's wearing shorts, but maybe. The golden age of the ninja was the Sengoku Jidai, the Warring States period. It was chaos. Everyone needed spies. The two most famous clans were the Iga and the Koga. These guys were essentially mercenary unions. You paid them, they committed arson for you. Simple economics. But then came Oda Nobunaga. This guy was the unifier of Japan, and he had zero chill. He didn't like that there were independent clans of super spies living in the mountains who wouldn't listen to him. So, in 1581, he launched the Tencho Iga War. He didn't send a few spies. He sent 40,000 soldiers to wipe them out. The ninjas fought back with guerrilla warfare, but numbers are numbers. Many were slaughtered. The survivors scattered across Japan and took jobs working for the shogun. And that is the saddest part of the ninja story. They didn't die out in a blaze of glory. They became the police. When peace finally came to Japan in the Edo period, there were no more wars to fight. The skills of the ninja infiltration, assassination, bomb-making were no longer needed. Many descendants of ninjas became castle guards or police officers. They traded their cool spy gadgets for paperwork and donuts. The legendary Shadow Warriors spent the next 200 years writing manuals on how to mix gunpowder and bragging about how cool their grandfathers used to be. By the time the 19th century rolled around, the ninja was just a myth, ready to be reinvented by theater, movies, and eventually, teenagers who run with their arms behind their backs. So to summarize, real ninjas didn't wear black, they didn't use straight swords, and they definitely didn't use magic. They were farmers who threw pepper in your eyes, hid in the toilet, and stepped on your feet with spikes before running away. And honestly, that is way cooler than the anime version. It takes a special kind of bravery to hide in a latrine for 3 days just to stab a guy. But you know what isn't a stealth mission? Hitting that subscribe button. It's right there. It's red. You can see it. If you don't click it, I will hire a Kunoichi to pour mercury in your ear while you sleep. And nobody wants that.